Greetings, fellow Whovians, and welcome to Timey Wimey Review. Here we are, the season finale for Doctor Who Season 1 after 7 weeks. Here is the Empire of Death. So let's talk about this season finale, because at the moment, all I've been hearing since it's been dropped on BBC iPlayer at midnight and on Disney Plus, very much mixed reviews. As I said in the tagline, is it underwhelming or is it pure genius? Please hit the subscribe button, that'll really help out this channel. Let's talk about this season finale. And as always, this is my spoiler talk. There's going to be plenty of spoilers in this video, you have been warned. First off, I just wanted to talk about my cinema experience. So last night, I was at the Odeon Cinema at Covent Garden, London. It was myself and Mrs. Timey Wimey Review. We were there, and I didn't expect it to be completely packed out. I thought it was going to be, busy, but not completely packed out. And I was just amazed by the amount of Whovians that turned up that night, and probably across many cinemas across the UK. So that was a really cool sort of thing to have had. And I wanted Mrs. Timey Wimey Review to have that kind of memory as well, because last time I saw Doctor Who on the big screen, it was for its 50th anniversary special, The Day of the Doctor, and she did enjoy it. I think she found it a bit too overwhelming, a bit too busy, but she did enjoy that experience nonetheless. And it was nice to see a lot of people all banding together and joining this special event. I had quite a few people dressed up as various doctors. We had a 15th Doctor, fantastic. A 7th Doctor, he looked amazing, and quite a lot of 11th Doctors, which is always my personal favourite. So if you were there, drop a hello on here on Timey Wimey Review YouTube channel, and also upload your photos on the Timey Wimey Review X page. That I'll put a link in the description below. So at the start, we had The Legend of Ruby Sunday as part of this cinema finale double. And yeah, I think a few in the audience might not have seen this. I think they were just been roped along by friends to come and see this Doctor Who finale. So it was nice to have that recap from last week. This has been my third viewing of that episode as well. And yeah, it does look great on the big screen, and definitely felt like this when we got to the Empire of Death. So just before we go into that, we had a bit of a countdown. So we had the episode Legend of Ruby Sunday, and then we had, I think, like a 15-minute break, something like that. And then we had a nice sort of countdown to this special announcement. So obviously, you saw on the Timey Wimey Review short that I did on YouTube. So we had that countdown, and after that countdown, we had Millie Gibson addressing the audience, saying thank you very much for participating in this cinema outing and staying up till midnight to watch this season finale. This episode, or this whole season, was made out of love, and really appreciate the audience that have come to watch these shows, especially at midnight as well. So I thought it was a really nice message, and for me, it just felt like the way she was presenting it. Other people might have thought hit low expectations, because she did mention that all your questions will be answered in this finale. Well, most of them will be answered in this finale. So I don't know whether that's sort of like on a sort of negative type of way of like, keep your expectations to a certain level, or for me, I felt like the way she presented it was something bad was going to happen. I kind of got hooked in. I was thinking, is she actually going to survive this? I know she kept announcing that she's going to be in season 2, but it's sort of like, I don't know. The way it was presented, I had like different vibes. So again, I would love to know in the comments below your sort of cinema experience and what vibes that you got from the audience around you, because that can always change your perception to a particular film, or in this case, this finale. As I said earlier, visually, this episode, or Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire Death, looked great on the big screen. Jamie Donahue did a fantastic job directing it, but the cinematography as well is all credit for that, because visually it looks stunning and fantastic on the big screen, particularly the scene where Sutek is given the gift of the dust of death, and the Doctor and Mel are trying to escape that massive dust cloud through the streets of London on Mel's moped. It did look like cinema quality. And let's talk about Bonnie Langford here, because obviously Mel returned from Since the Giggle, and I thought she would be like sort of bit appearance, particularly being a previous companion to the Doctor in the 80s. But yeah, she was pretty prominent in this episode and had a lot to do and absolutely carried it off. And for me, this felt like a redemption for her particular character, and people who are fans of Big Finish Audios would have definitely recognised that already. For me, particular, the Juggernauts was a great Big Finish story. I do talk about that a lot. We had a scene where Sutek was explaining that he was on board the TARDIS for a long time, ever since. From the story point of view, I think he said ever since the ending of Pyramid of Mars. So there was some scenes where the Doctor was basically watching himself watching Pyramids of Mars. So if you didn't quite get to watch Tale of the TARDIS, at least you kind of got a very quick sort of catch up history lesson for that particular story. But do check out Tales of the TARDIS, or at the very least, do check out Pyramids of Mars. I did a review of that on Time Wimey YouTube channel. Go check it out. But so yeah, we had that sort of explanation that he was clinging on to the TARDIS all this time, and we had the visual effect of Sutek spinning on top of the time on top of the TARDIS in the time vortex. I'm glad he only used that very, very short, because that could have looked really stupid. I did hear a few giggles in the cinema, not that much, but I did hear a few giggles of that particular scene. Sorry, I'm going all over the place with this one. It's not play-by-play. We're just going to go everywhere. So, yeah, Sutek explained that whilst the Doctor and Mel was back at unit base inside the time window. And they were basically willing another TARDIS into existence. In this case, the memory TARDIS. So we're all on board the memory TARDIS, and it was great to see Mel's reaction. This is what I'm trying to get to. There's lots of sort of Mel points and Bonnie Langford little sort of moments in this episode, which I thought was great. And yeah, when Mel saw the memory TARDIS and was touching the jacket of the 6th Doctor and the bow tie of the 7th, I think it was, or maybe just a cravat thing. But those little moments was spot on, and just her remembering her original time with the Doctor, it was just special. And then throughout the episode, she gets possessed by Sutek, and yeah, quickly sort of turns. You see her sort of like falling asleep type of thing, going into, felt like it was going to be a bit of a trance, and effectively she died. Because I thought, oh yeah, here you go, she's dying, she's gone, she's been possessed or sort of taken over by the dust cloud of death. And yeah, she got possessed, and again, great makeup like they did with Susan Triad last week. Great makeup of Mel being possessed under the spell of Sutek. Everyone kind of got wiped out. We had a high body count here. Unit got pretty much wiped out. There was a moment where in the unit headquarters, Sutek was again sat on top of the TARDIS, all proud as he could be, and everyone was shooting at it. Kate Stewart, the unit soldiers, even Morris Gibbons had his own Segway, had his own little machine guns. That was brilliant. I want a Segway like that. I want a Segway with machine guns. That was pretty cool. There was lasers going off everywhere. Even the Flink's got his own set of lasers. I was expecting some really cheesy pa-choom, pa-choom laser effects there. So there was all just trying to mow down Sutek, and no, didn't happen. And I thought Kate was going to get the full-on immortal line said by the Brigadier in Robot. She just went, I think she just basically said, oh, just this once, and never finished the line. I thought she was going to say, just this once, I want to meet someone or an alien that's not immune to bullets. One of these days, she's going to get this a immortal line. I thought she would have had that in the Power of the Doctor with the, well, here we go again, if she saw the regeneration scene. Didn't get that. Come on, give her that line. Give her a Brigadier line. But essentially, everywhere from the storyline of everywhere the Doctor has landed, Sutek was there, basically planting seeds or his own sort of will of death and destruction with his magic dust. Which was quite a cool sort of concept to have, having, if essentially the Doctor was the, brought Sutek the power of death wherever he travelled, or he or she travelled, I should say. So not only Earth got wiped out, the Ood Sphere, Skaro, Telos was mentioned, and different points of his time in history. So there was a lot of winks and nods to previous Doctor Who history. The time 1999 was mentioned, so that was kind of a hint from the Doctor Who TV movie. 2005, obviously, when the revived series came back. Lots and lots of references kind of being flown in there. So the whole universe was basically on its knees and turned to dust, apart from basically the Doctor, Mel, Ruby in the memory TARDIS. And there's a really good scene where the Doctor just realised, oh my gosh, this is all my fault. And had this rage out moment that we kind of saw in the trailer. We saw an image of him screaming out into space with the memory TARDIS in the background. And yeah, this was a cool moment as well. This is something that we know Ncuti Gatwa is very good at the moment, bringing that raw emotion. Lots of tears going on in this episode, which I can imagine there's going to be quite a lot of memes coming on this way. And I'll say it again, less is more. He's brilliant at that, but it's, don't get me wrong, it was very valid in this episode, but we don't need that all the time. Sometimes I do want a bit of a tough love Doctor as well. So how's the Doctor going to get out of this one? Well, the one sort of key element on this whole sort of universe of death was one thing was constant, and that is Ruby and the identification of her mum. This is the sort of the key for Sutek's existence. He cannot be fully completed in his goal of destroying everything because there's this moment of who is Ruby's mum. And the identity of Ruby's mum was finally revealed in this season, and it was an ordinary person. Now, this is where I know I've read in the social media post that people are feeling a bit underwhelmed by this. It was just a normal human. I don't feel that bad about this because it was kind of like a bit of a rock and hard place. I know Russell T Davies didn't have to write it in this sort of way, but obviously he did, and he'll live and die by his sword. And time will tell, it always does. I didn't mind this because, one, it sort of emphasizes what the Doctor has said previously, particularly the 11th Doctor, where everyone is important no matter what. And two, we've kind of gone down the road of like Clara is this super special person in the universe, and Donna is this super special person in the universe, and Rose is this super special person in the universe in the form of Bad Wolf. So to have it sort of more of an ordinary person, and basically the memories of or the love that you have, even if it's for someone that you've never seen physically, making it all the more important. I thought that was quite a good idea in concept, and like I said, I can see why people feel underwhelmed by this, because we're that used to these grand reveals and big reveals. So to go sort of total opposite is probably a bit of a, like I said, it could be underwhelming. You could class it as underwhelming, and I understand that. But on the other side of it, it could be a bit of a refreshing surprise as well. While Sutek was obsessed about this reveal, I wonder if that was kind of like meta for all the fans and the Whovians are like obsessed with who the reveal of movies Ruby's mum is. The Doctor laid his plans of how to defeat Sutek by using the intelligence Mavity glove. I think that's what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. A bungee cord and a whistle. Very much Fifth Doctor, isn't it? Kettle and string. Hey, and I'm wearing a vegetable. So yeah, he managed to basically fly Sutek into the time vortex with his own TARDIS and basically reverse apply to the neutron flow. Basically reversed what Sutek did. So basically he brought death. How about we bring death to death, and therefore cancelling everything out. So everybody got to live again. Unit was back. Skaro was back. Clom, why not? Telos as well. No mention of Gallifrey, which was a bit sort of up in the air. Is it destroyed again? Is it lost again? And just this once, everybody lives. Everyone comes back. Carla comes back. Kate Stewart comes back. Corporal Ibrahim comes back. And is it me? But there was a little moment with Kate Stewart and Corporal Ibrahim holding hands. Is that supposed to be a hint of a bit of a romance? Who knows? Rose is back. Yasmin Finney Rose, of course. Rose Temple Noble. And it's a shame she didn't have much to do. It's such a shame, really. I think there was just too many characters. You could have easily replaced her and it wouldn't have made any difference. So hopefully, if she does come back in a future episode of Doctor Who, we do something relevant. I think she needs a trip in the TARDIS. I think she deserves a trip in the TARDIS with the 15th Doctor. And of course, Ruby's grandmother comes back along with Mrs. Flood, which we will get to later in this video. So everyone's back, and then we have the big resolution of the identity of Ruby's mum. So we establish who it is and sort of the backstory of why she left Ruby at that church, and the reason why it didn't happen with the father as well. And we have this scene where the Doctor and Ruby track down Ruby's birth mum. Oh, sorry, let's go back a bit. So we had this bit of like, why was she pointing at the Doctor? And no, it wasn't a case of that. She was pointing at a lamppost that said Ruby Road. So basically she was pointing at the sign that says, I want you to name my daughter Road. No, sorry, Ruby. Point the sign to Ruby. And I found that a little bit too cheesy. I don't know why. I don't really remember seeing street names on lampposts. Never seen that. If it was on the church wall, fine. If it was on the ground, fine. I've never really seen one on a lamppost. But again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So, Paul Ruby could have been called lamppost or road. Anywho. But yeah, there was very interesting sort of moments there between Ruby and the Doctor of like, we only tracked her down with the TARDIS. She's had all this time to see you, to try and find you. Maybe she doesn't want to find you, and it's a bit sort of harsh reality, but it is a reality in that sense. So obviously, I've never gone through this process personally, but it was a nice sort of concept to had, but they kind of just explained it quite easily, really. So there was a really good scene where Ruby's real mum was going to have some coffee. She was about to take a flight to Spain, and Ruby was there waiting for a cappuccino and sort of doing that reveal, and it was pretty much a happy ending. Everyone, she was, her mum, her birth mum was saying, oh, I'm really, I keep thinking about contacting you, but I thought that you didn't want to know about me and all that kind of stuff, which naturally would go through someone's head. But it would have been sort of an interesting sort of concept of what if. I'm glad they mentioned that in the scene itself between the Doctor and Ruby, but yeah, kind of got explained maybe a bit too easily. I don't know, let me know in the comments. And then came the parting goodbye of Ruby and the Doctor. So in the TARDIS, there was talking about they found Ruby's father, real birth father, so they was going to do that. And Ruby was saying no to the Doctor, well, you could stay with me, and obviously the Doctor doesn't do that. So that was a really sort of touching moment in this scene. Really like this scene. It's probably one of my highlights of this episode. There's been quite a few in this particular episode, but this one was a really sort of really well acted between Millie and Ncuti. The only sort of nitpick I would have is I wish we had more time with them together. Now, don't get me wrong, she is going to be back. Ruby will be back in season 2, but this is where I feel like maybe this season was 2 episodes too short. It needed 2 more episodes of just establishing that true friendship between Ruby and the Doctor. It was more talked about in this season. I'd rather visually have seen that and see that relationship grow. It went too quickly, particularly for the episodes that we've had. There was only really 2 or 3 where we see that kind of relationship, which was kind of Space Baby. I know, barring the Christmas specials, um, which is Space Babies, The Devil's Cord, and probably Boom. Then we had like more individual sort of episodes. So in that relationship, really needed more time to really hit home that goodbye scene, as well as it was well acted and well performed. I think it would have had a lot more emotional weight if we had more time with these two showing that friendship. And I think this is what they were trying to. I don't know whether Russell T Davies was trying to do this intentionally or this is more accidentally. But I felt like the theme for this particular season was love, family, appreciation of what you have, and that sense of belonging. Whether you are adoptive, whether you are from a family that sadly broke up and with a new family, that sense of whether you are sort of either blood relatives or not, everyone counts. Everyone has deserves to belong somewhere and have that sense of belonging and acknowledgement. And that's what I kind of come out of this feeling in this episode, that there is a lot of heart here. There was a lot of love being shown in terms of the writing style that they were going for. So whether this was like my favorite season finale, probably not. If you wanted like the grand sort of big finales and big sort of reveals and gestures and action, this is probably not going to be the finale for you. Some really sort of nice heartfelt scenes. There was particularly in this episode with the Doctor and the kind woman, and he was looking for a piece of metal, and she gave it to she gave it to the Doctor, and sort of like that sense of loss, and she couldn't quite remember it because of the dust cloud of death. It was wiping people's memories as well as turning them into dust. And that scene with where basically this kind woman did have a baby but couldn't quite remember because the baby is already gone. So it's kind of again just sending out that message of appreciation of what you've got, and because once it's gone, it's gone. So those little moments is what I come away in the sort of more positive light for this particular episode. And I feel that Shooty definitely carried that. We have got a very much an emotional Doctor, a very different type of Doctor as well, but still a Doctor. And I feel that we haven't seen the best of him yet. We still have a mystery to solve. We still don't know who Mrs. Flood is. And I knew that was going to happen, really. They couldn't have revealed everything in this finale, because why would you? When you've got something like that in your back pocket, you keep hold of those aces up your sleeve. And this is very much very very weird performance. Anita Dodson scares me. I bet she's absolutely lovely in real life, but she really scares me, particularly in these 2 episodes. I think she was a bit of a scene stealer, really, for the season finale. And right at the end, she was saying about the Doctor being terror and stuff, and she's in that white coat. Very much reminded me of Romana 1 from the Key to Time season, Mary Tam, rest in peace. So could she be a form of Romana? We had sort of references of when she said, "You clever boy." So a lot of people were speculating with Clara, especially that grey jumper and white shirt that she was wearing in The Legend of Ruby Sunday. So yeah, all still up in the air. So, and also, I think we don't know who the boss is, as said by the Meep. I don't think that was Sutek. I think that's going to be someone else for season 2 or 3. And also the Master as well. The Master is still at large, stuck in that gold tooth from the giggle. So there's a lot coming up for season 2. I can understand why Russell T Davies has wrote up to sort of season 3 and 4. There's lots more things being laid out on the line. It just needs to be, I think, This is the impression that I got from season 1 anyway. It is a soft reboot of Doctor Who, so they're not going to go in all guns blazing in terms of continuity and history. We definitely get that for the fan service. I think that was sort of done there, and we definitely had Doctor Who's take. And this is what Russell T Davies does. He does bother heavily on different ideas, such as everyone turning to dust, very much like Thanos in the Avengers movies. A bit of Last of Skywalker, I think. Rise of Skywalker, I should say. There's a little bit of elements from there too. But I think we'll save that chat for another day, because otherwise this will go on hours on end. So I'm going to wrap this up now. So I'm going to give The Empire Death a TARDIS rating of 7 out of 10. Was this my favourite episode from this season? Probably not. I think I'm considering doing a season rank. In fact, yeah, I will do a season episode ranking very, very soon on this channel. Was this my favourite finale of a Doctor Who episode? Again, probably not. I feel like there's some stronger ones, specifically in the Russell T Davies era. Doomsday is definitely up there. The Last of the Time Lords, I think, is stronger, and probably could argue that Journey's End is a bit stronger too. But what I came out from this was a lot of warm and fuzzy feelings in my heart, particularly that scene carried by Millie and Ncuti. I thought that was really good. I like the sort of underlying message of what was going off. The cultural appropriation line, that was interesting, wasn't it? That got big laughs at the cinema where I was at, and I think in other cinemas it probably got big groans as well. So again, let me know in the comments, what did you think about that cultural appropriation line? I think from a long-term Doctor Who fan standpoint, I think this season got away with it. It could have gone in a lot more harder, but I can understand why they didn't, because obviously they're growing that international audience and having that soft reboot. But for season 2, I'm expecting bigger and better things. They definitely need to do that and not sort of reside into sort of harking back on the past. It's definitely, talk about it, because, it opens up those conversations and definitely bring back those memories of classic Who, because we've got a whole Who universe to play with on BBC iPlayer, and obviously BritBox across the world as well. So if that's going to get more eyes on classic Who, then yeah, that's perfect for me. Happy for them to carry on doing that. But yeah, I feel that season 2 needs to come back bigger and stronger, and fingers crossed that will happen. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts to The Empire Death. Did you find that a pure genius writing, or did you feel that it was a bit underwhelming? I think I answered that question. I don't think it's pure genius, and I don't think it was underwhelming. So I'm sorry, I'm sat on the fence on that one, really. But yeah, I came away happy. That's all I can say. And I hope you guys did too. I hope my fellow Whovians, do as well. But also let me know in the comments if you went to the cinema, which cinema you went to in the UK. What was your experience? What was the audience like? Again, let's have a good old chat in the comments. Let's all please be kind. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please like, share and subscribe. Hit the cloister bell for more notifications. Come say hello and follow me on Facebook and X. And do check out my other fantastic Doctor Who related content on the Timey Wimey Review TikTok page. And of course, right here on the Timey Wimey Review YouTube channel. And as the good doctor once said, with a spoon.